everybody. Welcome to Painting for Pleasure. I'm your host, Tony Visco, and today we're going to do we're going to work with a complementary palette. We're going to use two colors. We're going to use French Ultramarine Blue and we're going to use Burnt Sienna, and we're going to do our entire painting with two colors. And essentially what they are is complementary or near complementary. We could have started this whole painting with a as a monochromatic painting first, but I thought we would just tackle two colors, and it's just going to show you basically that you can get pretty far into a painting, and you can do a pretty decent painting with just working with two colors if they're the right colors. So we're going to do today. We're going to do a big sky. Got some mountains in the background. We've got a lake over here, and we've got some brush over here and grass, and a couple of tall trees that are sitting over here. But essentially, what we really are looking to do is to make sure that these two complementary colors work together to produce a decent painting. So what we'll do is we'll get started in terms of doing this. You know, the biggest thing is that when you're working with I did this once before a long time ago, and we started out with a sepia painting, basically a painting using burnt umber, and just did it as a tonal value. But rather than start there, I think going into this two-color kind of thing might work very well. So what we'll do is we'll get started, and you can see what's happening in my outline. I've got some mountains in the background. This is actually not really my painting. I'm actually adapting it from a piece that I took that was I guess it's out in Montana. I'm not too sure, or Wyoming, one of the areas where you have a lot of high mountains with lakes and so forth. But nonetheless, we'll get started with this, and what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to wet the sky. All right, and we're going to come in here, and I'm going to wet the sky. And some of the edges are going to be hard, some of them are going to be soft. And I'm going to just come in here with a little bit of my French Ultramarine Blue now. Remember, a lot of water. Here, let me show you what's going on here so that you can understand it. Very loose water. All we're going to do is we're going to work with French Ultramarine Blue and Burnt Sienna, and we're going to build our painting off of that. But see how nice and watery this is? Very loose. Okay, so we're building our sky. We're going to come in here and build our sky, nice and loose. And then we've got a lot of snow on the mountains, the mountain caps and so forth. And as we come down to the bottom, you know, they'll be grayed out and so forth. But just to give you an idea as to what's happening, I'm laying in a little bit of very wet, very watery, very light French Ultramarine Blue. Okay? And I'm going to leave a lot of this stuff white, and I'm going to come in with water in a lot of areas, but a lot of this is going to be left white. I'm going to wet down here in the mountains before we hit the lake. Okay, and we've got a landmass that's coming in on the side over here that's going to be closer to us. So these here are going to be set back, and again, they're snow covered, so we can afford some real light values in here of what a mountain would look like going back in a distance, and what we may do here, because of the way the blue is coming in here in the sky, it's a very light sky. We may want to add just a touch. I'm going to just add a touch of burnt sienna to this to gray down a little bit of this stuff. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. So I just added a little bit of gray, just add a little bit of burnt sienna to my French Ultramarine Blue. Again, let me just take this over here. All right, just I picked up a little bit of it, brought it in here. That's actually too much, and mixed it up so that I had a gray. And as I come in here, and I want some of this some of this gray to come into the mountain areas here. And we're just sort of coming across here so that some of the sky is going to be lighter. Notice what I did is I left a lot of white here, a little bit of blue, blue-gray to come in this area right here. And as I come down, essentially I'm going to do the same thing in these ridges. I want to come down here. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make this area here gray. And I'm going to make this area gray coming down. Gray on this side. The light's going to come from this direction. All right, so I'm bringing in my gray in this area. Now this is damp. Some of it's damp, some of it's dry. Okay, come in here with some of this area here, and some of the mountainous areas up in this area. A little bit of gray. And as I come back a little bit, you know, it'd be nice if I could take a little bit of opera and throw it in here, but we can't do it because we're just really doing a two color painting. And we'll just build this a little bit here and there, just so you can see some of the gray area, and some of it's going to be a little bit darker than others. We're going to come down in here. Now, I'm actually leaving white and I'm creating hard edges. Because some of the mountains, some of this mountain stuff up in the tops near the peaks are going to be very, very hard edged. I'm adding a little bit more burnt sienna to this because we're going to define this a little bit more as we come down into this area right here. Okay? And a little bit more blue, a little bit more pigment. Okay, and all in this whole area down here, we're going to make nice, see, nice and blue. Got some gray up there in that area. Adding some blue into this area here. This is all I'm doing is my very loose, watery French ultramarine blue. Down to the area down here in the mountains. And as I come across, what's going to happen is I'm going to add a little bit more. I want to bring this in a little bit more, so I want a little bit more vibrancy at the bottom of these mountains. So we're coming down here with these. Notice what I'm doing is I'm adding my burnt sienna and a little bit more of a nice, stronger pattern, color wise. See this over here, and bring up some just change it up a bit. Okay, so we have some grays going on over here, and we're going to end up with some browns in these areas over here. I'm just going to go, not going to worry about my tree, going to go right up around it. All right, and we're going to do the same thing, a little bit more burnt sienna in here. And we're mixing it with my blue right here. Okay, so all this stuff in the foreground is going to be a little bit more of a burnt sienna look. Coming down this way here. Now remember, the light's coming in this direction, so we're just going to continue to do this. We want it warmer at the bottom, cooler at the top. I've got to come over here and take some of this out. I should wait a little while before it dries, but oh well, I'll wait a little bit more. Okay, now let's get back up to the harder ridged areas where I have a little bit more pigment, a little bit stronger blue, stronger burnt sienna, stronger blue. That's what I'm doing, is basically more pigment now than water. And I'm coming down to make these ridges a little bit stronger. As I come down here, a little stronger. Okay, a little stronger in here. Coming down in this area here where we have this nice strong area right here, and reaching up a little bit here. This is dry, so we're just making this a little bit stronger here. Try it out, see what happens. Okay, and we'll just add a little bit of my lighter sort of blue in these areas here. We actually have, I'll tell you what, we'll just put a mountain in the background right here so that we got a peak here in the back. All right, so we got some nice things happening over there. And again, right down here at the bottom of the lake, let's just get this a little bit more vibrant. So this is just with all I'm doing is my French ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. So I got a warm and a cool, and these are near complementary colors. Okie doke. Just what are we creating here? A little bit of, let's get a little bit more gray. Okay, so a little bit more French ultramarine blue mixture in here. Get a little bit of grayer, a little bit warm gray, but we'll get a little bit more grayer here. We have a pretty good edge here. Let's just get that edge in. And we got an edge there, and we got this sort of light area here, so maybe get a bit more, a little bit of tone here. And so, interesting. Some of these edges are hard. Some of them are soft, as you can see. Let's define this over here more. Tops of these mountains. Rocks. These are rocks, guys. Okay, so you can see how the mountain is being built up. Got the same thing happening over here. Get some warmth in this back here, but keep it nice and light. Okay, so what happens over here? We want to mix up a combination of. Unfortunately, we're dealing with this the blue and my burnt sienna. So as it comes forward, we're going to end up getting some of this light. We'll make it nice and light. This is okay. And this paper's dry. I'm just giving this a light coat with color water. This is just nothing but color water here as we come down here, all right? And we're keeping this nice and warm. Okay, so what I've done is I'm trying to differentiate between what's going on back here and over here. And we'll continue to build this a little bit more. But I got this nice light coat in there. And I'm going to try and keep this as vibrant as possible. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and using just my burnt sienna now. Try to get this more interesting over here. This mountain, this body of land that would normally be sort of a greenish color. So we're going to try to do that. We're going to try to get a little bit more blue in this with a little bit of. Let's see if I can do this. A little bit of shadow here and there. All right. So we've got this sort of landmass that's over here. We're going to make this really dark right in here. Now the way we make that really dark is just a lot of pigment, no water, right? We need a separation in there. All right. And maybe this is going to be really dark down here. We're going to darken that all up. We'll come down here. And again, darker at the base. All right. Now, let's see if we can get some. See if we can soften some of this a little bit here. what I'm doing is I'm just adding a little bit of water to soften some of these ridges up a little bit here. All right, and we got this nice strong, let's just get some nice clean water right here. We got this nice strong, maybe a light ridge that's coming across here. All right, and we've got the same things happening over here. We got some nice light stuff that's coming down on the light side, like right here. Water, lighten this up. Okay. Alrighty. And some of these areas over here got some even darker spots here and there, so we can put those in. Again, just using, all I'm doing is I'm using the, what are the two colors I'm using? I'm using burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue. Yeah, okay. Nice reference material over there. French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. It's the two colors I use when I'm making grays, right guys? And you can see those right here. Let's get a nice ridge here, a little darker right there coming down. Maybe even a darker ridge right there. And I'm going to end up sort of bringing this up. We need a dark separated area right there. This is all going to sort of be medium dark, so this is fine. Coming back in here, and we're just going to put in little tones. Let me get back to those grays and blues. Actually, snow-covered ridges. Maybe some of them in here. And we'll darken some of these areas up. Now I'm just using, all I'm doing is I'm going in here and just using my wet brush on the damp surface of the paper here, so Alright, so we've got a mountain range in the background. Landmass over here. Wouldn't it be nice if I could turn that into green? Well, we'll have to pretend it's green by mixing up the grays. So to try to get a gray-green. Let's see what I can do here. Just a little bit of burnt sienna. Now, we'll see. Okay, so let's now get into our water. So we're going to do the water. We're going to bring the water in here. Nice and light. We'll float in some of that nice blue. And we'll come across down in this area here and make this sort of a crystal. Crystal lake. Crystal clear lake. Okay, so you can see that the lake I'm putting in there is just a light area. Okay, so I've got my lake in here. It's just a ghost of a lake. We'll end up putting some darker values in here at some point, like I just did right there. That's not some point, that was then. But let me just spread this out a little bit, because I don't really want it in there now. Just want to get this in. This is just nothing but French ultramarine blue. That's all it is. Okay, so let's get back into doing something over here. This is all going to be grass. Let me do another mountain coming in on this side over here. So we'll do get a little bit of a landmass right here. I think what I'll do is I'll wet it first. Okay, wet the tonal value there, and we'll bring in a nice vibrant mass right there, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, the lake, and we're going to come down and do all of this stuff here. Now this is what I'm doing is I've got to put my light yellow. This is my yellow, my light color in here, right? My light warm color. And then we're going to try to do whatever I can to beef this thing up. So we want to make this, so I'm going to get, and I'm going to put a nice big tree up in this area here too. So I just laid down my base color. Now I can only use, remember we're dealing with two colors here. We're dealing with French ultramarine blue and we're dealing with burnt sienna. So let me get another brush and see if we can start to create some grass. And see what I've got? I've got a brush here. See what I've done? I've got a loose brush. It's a squirrel brush. Loose hairs, just to try to get me the impression that I want here of some grassy area. Okay. And we're going to put some, let me just put some rocks over here too. We're going to put some bushes in there too. So what I'll do is I'm going to take this brush here, and we're going to make some bushes. Alright, we're just going to end up doing some it's just nothing but dark, it's just a dark gray, right? It's just all I did. Right. A little dark blue-gray. Need some variation in this. Okay. Okay, and then we have a couple of, let's just do this. We have a couple of rocks. In here, and what we'll do is we'll make that light, make this a rock right here. We'll make that nice and dark around here, down that rock right there. So it's a negative shape, and I'm going to come in here and do the same thing. And let's make some darks in this area here. So a really nice dark area, real dark, combining my French ultramarine blue with my burnt sienna. Okay, nice strong value right here. And okay, and we're going to end up giving this a little bit of something there. Alright, now this is all grass right here, so we just need to go back, and some of this is going to be a little darker. This is brush, all we're doing is a little bit of brush stroke work here. That's all. Okay. So let me put this brush down, we'll get a smaller brush in here. My light to dark, okay. So if I have a big tree trunk that's in here, what I want to do is I want to wet this. I'm going to wet this. And we're going to go right up to the top of the trunk, right? Right up to the top of the trunk. Let's get rid of this. All right, so let's use this brush here. All right, so here's my, I'm going to wet this all the way up. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom. And then come down from the top with a darker color. So we're going to start at the bottom with just my burnt sienna, but now I'm going to combine the burnt sienna at the top okay. I need this to move from light to dark, so it's going to be lighter at the bottom. Let that set up a bit. The light's coming from this direction. Okay. There's my big tree sitting right in here. So we're just going to let those set up a bit. I'm going to let that set up a bit. I'm going to let that set up a bit. What I'll probably do is just take my dryer and dry that out a little bit. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to work around this a little bit more. We'll just give this a little bit more character. We've got an interesting kind of thing that we can put over here maybe. Let me get my rigger. Let's start putting in some more. This brush kind of stuff, because usually what ends up happening is between all of this stuff here, we're just trying to build something that's very interesting over here in terms of some brush. And usually you can see through the brush. And we'll come down in this area and make this actually even darker. Some of these areas. I'm just basically coming in here with a straight shot of just burnt French ultramarine blue for my darks down in this area. And if we have to, we can put some burnt sienna in there. What I'm doing is I'm just creating some form around those rocks. There's a slight shadow across these rocks. So we'll try to do something. I mean, it's tough. You know, we're working with such a limited palette here that we're going to end up finding that maybe some of this stuff maybe won't work out as well as we want. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But you see, it's just, we're dealing with two colors here. But if I keep this nice and strong and bold, that'll set everything else back off in the distance. And I got to do that. That's why I'm letting this dry a little bit. I have to deal with this. Let me do something here. Let's get a little bit of a land feel over there, feeling of sort of grass and some bushes and trees on this landmass over here, and I'm basically doing that with heavy pigment, no water. Okay, and we'll come in with even something maybe a little darker. Okay. I wonder if I can a little bit of water in here, see what happens. See these lines, these are just tiny. Okay, let's see if I can now pick out. Let's see if I can pick out some lights. Use this brush here. Get a little bit of water on here. And I know this is the back side of it, but let's see if we can just take a little bit of light. Again, it's interesting what we can do with just two colors in a palette. So if you're stuck with two colors out there, and it's all you got, and you got to, you don't have anything with you, and you want to paint, well, here you go. Create some texture in this thing in a minute. All right. Now, we need some real darks on this side. And we're going to end up probably, we need some texture in there too. But let's just, first of all, before we even do that, let's just get this in here. We're going to end up doing nice dark branch off of there. Okay. Light down at the bottom here. Look at this. Okay. Now what we're actually doing here is we're working with more of a solid pigment, very little water, and I'm just combining my blues and browns here. My French ultramarine blue with my burnt sienna. And this is still a little bit wet, but I want this nice and dark up at the top as it comes down. Okay. Let's fatten this up down here and that side. Okay. Oh, let's go in here. And we're just going to make some grass, water, a little bit of water and a brush. Amazing what it does. Okay. And the same way with this here. Okay, so let that dry up a bit. We want some darker grass over here. I don't want that dark yet though. That's a little bit too dark. Alright, that's better. Let's get some dark. Wouldn't it be nice if I could use one more color? I could pull this all together, but as we said, we're using these complementary colors or near complementary colors to make this painting, and we can do it. You can do it. It'll work out pretty good. I want to do something over here too. I want that to die out. Of course, stuff out here in the background is not, you're not going to be able to really see the detail too much over here. I know I'm quiet, but what we're trying to do is to just trying to concentrate a little bit on doing some of this stuff over here. So let's see. Let's take a look and see where we're at. We're almost done with this. Hopefully, we should put a couple of people. I wonder if we should. Well, no, I'm not going to do that because we have to do another one. We got to do a 3-color and next time around. So we're going to use 3 colors instead of 2. But I may want to use the same theme just so that we can see how it works. Let's get a little bit of a dark area. We're going to do something in here. Actually, you know what? Where is my? Because this is light enough. Let's see. Light enough for me to scrape. Scrape some stuff in here. Scrape some texture in there. Okay. Not much. That's all you need. Just a little bit. And we don't need we don't need any leaves actually. We can probably put them on there, but the tree is going to have some stuff going on way up here. All right. So let's take a look at this, and then maybe we can add some more soft definition out in this area. Let's just maybe you want to keep this ridge a little harder. Maybe this ridge here a little bit harder there. Gully. This is it here. This gully stuff. I'm going to make this a little bit darker in here. Shouldn't do it. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it too much. Little riffs, little light riffs here and there. Just a little bit darker to make that transition there. All I'm really doing is enhancing some of the stuff that's out there. And probably I shouldn't even be enhancing it as much, quite frankly. May want to take a little bit of this off. Soften, just coming in here. Maybe soften some of this here. Yeah. There you go. I don't know. You know, you gotta be careful. We can overwork that real good, real bad, real quick. Blue. We're using our French Ultramarine blue. And just sort of glazing a little bit over this stuff here. Okay. I'm going to probably call this pretty soon. Okay. Nice. Let's see if we can darken this up a bit more up here. Okay. Got some changes in value. Okay, we don't need a lot of grass. We don't need a lot of other stuff. I want to get just one more brush in here to see if I can get a little bit more. See if I can get this script brush. Why am I so quiet? I get into this stuff, I start concentrating. Okay, anyway, that's my painting. 2 colors. French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Remember, complementary colors, or is close to complementary colors. Just trying to create some interest in that sky. You know, you can go on and on and on with these things, but time to let go. Let's call it a painting. So this is our exercise for the evening, for today. It's a painting that we did. You can feel very comfortable with it. It's a very successful piece. We're dealing with painting in 2 colors. The only palette that you happen to have on your hand, you had 2 colors on you. You had burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to probably scrape out some more stuff over here, but for the most part, this is pretty complete. I do want to do one thing. I want to get a little bit more. I want to get a little bit more dark definition in some of these, in the area down here. And the area right here, because these are rocks, and they're not quite making it for me. So we just need a little bit more dark in there. And this is even darker. Let's make this even darker right here. Okay. With this you don't want to do too much of this stuff, actually. So that's it. That's our painting for today. Have a good evening. I'm your host, Tony Visco. You can see all of my work at www.panthonyvisco.com. It's my website. I'm on YouTube, as you know, because I put these up on YouTube. Instagram, I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. And if you guys want to continue with me, it's www.paintingforpleasure.org, and you can sign up and continue with classes. Hey, thanks for being with me, and I appreciate it. Again, I'm your host, Tony Visco, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.